2 years ago.
Okay. Should we go for one like that, or just our 3 EIN?
Just try and get what you've got done right now, okay?
Okay.
You got the key one right now when you've got that individual banker EIN. And you've got your estate EIN and you got your foreign grantor trust EIN. Now you have your 2 bank accounts and you have the chief financial officer over your bank. That's all you need.
Okay.
Does anybody out there have any questions, comments over what I've been going over here?
Yeah, you talk about a cross and a fish. I just didn't know like where that was on your documents, or did you put them on, or they put them on, or what? The Roman cross.
Well, it shows on my baptismal record there.
Huh.
Look at the last page of that document that I posted up there.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
The affidavit and...
Mashaka Hospital, yeah.
Yeah, my hospital, birth certificate, and then my baptismal certificate. It shows right on the baptismal certificate, right at the very top.
Mm-hmm.
The fish and the cross.
Oh, is it on the seal? Or somewhere else? I'm looking at it.
It's at the very top of the baptismal record.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I see it. That was the one underneath. Yeah, certificate of baptism, right.
Yeah, see, you need a cross and the fish.
Right.
Okay, the cross is for being on the land, baptized upon the land,
Yeah.
and the fish is baptized by water.
Oh, that's cool.
Now, the whole problem out here that we've been having is nobody knows that this nation has been conquered. This is not the free nation that the founding fathers initially set up. It's been conquered by the Roman Empire. This nation became a debtor nation. That is the problem. That's why the Pope is coming over here and going to lay the law down upon D.C., New York, and Philadelphia. The 3 hubs of power in this country. Because it's a conquered nation. It's now been incorporated into one of the parts of the Roman Empire. Because it became a debtor nation after the Civil War. Okay, you can look at that baptismal form I have. It's with the Roman Catholic Church. The form number is a 214. Just happens to be the same number as a military form, DD 214.
Right, there it is.
So, I was baptized into the Roman Empire, and I also did military service in the Roman Empire. That's why this nation can go overseas and fight. Because we're not fighting as the nation, we're fighting as a product of the Roman Empire. That's what everybody has been totally missing in this process of understanding. They haven't realized that we are basically a conquered nation.
Excuse me, Patrick?
Yes.
I got baptized yesterday, but it doesn't, and the certificate that they gave me does not have a fish or the cross. Does that matter at this point?
Where'd you get baptized at?
Basically by a Baptist preacher who belonged to another church.
Okay, but you'll take that into you'll have to take that into the archdiocese, the bishop of the, or whatever, and basically have him accept it then as a baptismal record into the Roman Empire.
Okay. Thank you very much, Patrick. I will do.
See, that's what we've been missing, okay? Everybody's been fighting this thing about this, the Catholic Church and everything else. It's the Roman side that we need to go in. And everybody out here has been continually to operate in the Jezebel banking system. The real Roman Empire is with lawful money, not the Jezebel system. Even in Moses' time, when they set up the temple, the first temple was basically with lawful money exchangement. And then, but outside that temple, there was the Jezebel temple, the bankers, with their unjust contracts that people wanted to get involved with. It's in the Bible numerous times. And see, that's what basically these countries, and that's what happened here. Basically, if we could have stayed using lawful money and kept the insurance companies and bankers out of this country, then we would have been a totally free country. But we didn't do that. Okay? Our grandparents and everything else. Oh, you got to have insurance. You got to have insurance. Got to have lightning rods. Oh, you're going to get hit with that lightning. Need to have this in lightning insurance now. That's the play that the devil does to you. Gets you into a usury system. You have to believe in the real law. And the real law is very simple. Okay? You control all these books into the water, and basically they're going to dissolve. All these codes of law. But the real law is cast in iron. That is what Christ means. Cast in iron. That's where the law is now out here. It's cast in iron. In Moses' time, it was cast in stone. In Daniel's time, it was cast in gold and then in silver. First by the Babylonians, then by the Medes Persians. Then later on, it was the Greeks, and it was cast in bronze or brass. And now we're under the Roman Empire, and it's cast in iron. Think about it. The first Bible, how was it printed? By a printing press, and basically all of the letters were iron letters out here. You have a seal, an embosser. One side of that seal is iron, or whatever, hard metal. So basically, when you put your seal on, you are basically putting that cast in iron, your law in iron. My great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great grandpappy, Patrick, over there in Ireland, basically, and I can claim him because I don't know who my real great-grandpappy was, but basically, I'm going to claim him. See, Patrick? Yeah. He was the bishop over Ireland. He drove all of the usury bankers out of Ireland. But later on, my damn relatives and everything else allowed the bankers back in there. Just like they did in this country. They tried to drive all the bankers out of here. They wrote stories. 1820. Daniel Webster and the devil. About the devil being the banker in usury. They allowed that one bank in and then they closed it down. And then they brought in a second one. And then Jackson basically shut that one down. Kept it out until basically about the time of Abraham Lincoln and Buchanan. The bankers were starting to influx into the north and also coming into the south. And it was funded both by the Church of Rome, the Roman Empire, to conquer this, from the Jezebel side, and out of England. But the net result is that the Roman Empire, the true Church of Rome, or the Roman Empire, is where all the real assets are. These other religious entities, the Jezebel bankers, they had no assets. So, when you understand who you are now, and yet you are a conquered people operating under the Roman Empire, now, like I said last week or last call and the previous call, we have to go to that Secretary of Treasury down in Puerto Rico until we basically shut down that Social Security account. And even the military side is tied to that. The DD-214. They're utilizing our assets in usury. We have to shut it down. That's the focal point. But we also contact basically the bishop or the archbishop in Philadelphia, because that was where the main capital of this country was at initially. You can notify New York and Washington, D.C. Archdiocese if you want to also. Coming in that you are a Roman citizen and that you are claiming your Roman rights. And you're not going to be operating under the Jezebel usury system anymore. You're not going to have a savings account. You're not going to have insurance policies. You're not going to have insurance on your car, on your house. You're going to pay for things as they go. You're going to take on the responsibility solely. You're going to start knowing the law, knowing what courts they can take you into and what courts they can't take you into. The Jezebels can only take you into certain courts. And you have to give them permission to take you into those courts. When you stand as a Roman citizen, you're protected. You have to go into an Article 3 court, and basically, in the Article 3 court, there has to be an injured party there, and they have to defend themselves. Just like the story in King Solomon. The two women were fighting over the child. And King Solomon was able to ascertain who was the one that was lying and who was the one that was real. That's when you get into the real law. And the real law is very simple. It hasn't really changed all that much. It's still roughly about the Ten Commandments. And it goes all the way back to Noah's time, but all the way back even further than that. And Jesus tried to break it down to just two. And it really does come down to pretty much just two. The others are just sort of a play on the other, on the main two. Love thy God or thyself, and love thy neighbor as thyself. When you love yourself, you will stay in honor in the process. And then you'll treat your neighbor the same way. That's pretty much it. That is just commerce. Now you can take, and basically what I put up there with that bill payment, and you can do those bill set-offs. Send them out. You don't need to have a response back from them. If they try and come after you, you'll get it. If they try and come after you, you'll get it. Send it out by certified mail. Now you have mail. Now, if they do not comply, they are committing mail fraud. Because they would have to come into a real court and say that, basically, that they never received it. Or that they rejected it, that if they never sent it back to you, and they've got 3 days to basically accept it. So in a total of 13 days, 3 days in, 3 days to process, 3 days to return, 1 day of grace, or 10 days, really, you should have your response back. But in this modern day, it should be a lot faster than that. But you do need to have a scanner and keep copies of what you sent out. And then I put a 1099-A up there. You don't need to use their forms. They're 3-part forms. You can print these out on the one that I put up there and send those in. We're the ones that are in charge, not them. Make them do a little work for a change. They're the ones that are operating the Jezebel system. Make them suffer. So you send that in, you can turn around and take your DD-14 or your certificate of live birth and do an endorsement like I put on there about 4 months ago or better for making a bill of exchange for a draw. Okay? You don't do bonds. Let me reiterate that. You do not do bonds. Letters of credit are okay for the insurance process. We will have a letter of credit standing by this process. We will have a letter of credit standing by. We put as assets over to the side, but we're not drawing any interest off of it. So it's not their type of insurance that they want everybody to be operating with. They cannot force you into basically committing a violation of the law against for usury. That is a violation of all law. Yeah, these Jezebel courts that are out there, yeah, they're breaking the law constantly. But see, you didn't know the power you had was because you are now a conquered American, but you are an American/Roman citizen. You have to stand with the protections of Rome now that you are a conquered people. Just like Daniel had to stand under the protections of the Babylonian Empire when he was in Babylon. He was a conquered people. This thing is out here, played out numerous times in the Bible. I just wish that there were more people that could try and break and understand what the Bible is really saying out here. But that's beyond hope, okay? So, I'll try and tell you, and then basically you go and check me out and try and prove me wrong. But you can take all your receipts that you have and get reimbursed. Send those down to Puerto Rico. Do this affidavit and apostille document that I had posted up there about 4 days ago or whatever. Get that done. Now that I've told you the rest of the story in it, you need to address that you're coming in as a conquered American, that you are now an American Roman citizen. Then you have your protections, because the real Roman Empire will protect your rights if you stand by the real law. But if you stand by the Jezebel banking system of Rome, they're not going to protect you.
Oh, yeah?
Okay? Okay. Open for questions, comments, rebuttals, whatever.
Thank you, Patrick.
Well, don't thank me. Ask me a question. I'm sure you don't know all the answers.
I don't.
Okay, then ask something. You got to have some question in your mind.
Basically, so with Archdiocese of Philadelphia or the Archdiocese here in Ohio is where I take this, the baptismal certificate.
You can go into, basically, you try and go into your local diocese, not the Archdiocese. Try and go into the local diocese first.
I will do that tomorrow morning, sir. Thank you. And as to being able to get the land record from California, it has been impossible for me to get. Is there any suggestion you might have? Because I've actually called the county recorder and asked them to give me the land record, and they haven't. They've refused to.
You've got, what land record are you trying to get?
The one with the book and page number that you mentioned.
If you can't get it, then don't worry about it, okay? You've got the number, okay? And basically out of California, you ain't going to get book and page number. They don't have it filed that way out there.
Okay.
Okay.
We've gone over that numerous times already. There's plenty of people out there on the site. You can ask people that are in California and ask them, have you ever gotten your book and page number for where your record's at? And they'll probably tell you no.
Right.
Thank
And
you.
we've tried that for years, okay?
Reyes probably has no hospital records either.
Because I was adopted and given up to foreign parents in a foreign country. So
You get a copy of your certificate of live birth, don't you? Your original one, okay?
that's it. Okay.
Yes. That's what's on file, okay? That's what gave you your inheritance in America.
Right.
And the Roman Empire has to honor that inheritance.
Thank you very much. That's the only thing I needed to proceed forward with all this.
You need to also have your Bible. You need to have a Bible. If you do not have the hospital birth certificate, you should have a Bible entry. You carry that Bible with you. You're dealing with the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire is following the Bible.
Yes, sir.
Okay? And you put your entry in, all your pertinent data into that Bible.
I was given the Bible yesterday. It's not an old one, it's a new one, but it'll have to do.
If it's got the family record section, you transpose what's on that certificate of live birth into that record, into the Bible.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you very
How
much.
many times have I said this?
Well, you mentioned going back and getting an old Bible, and we've tried, but if we can just put it into a new...
I said if you can get one, okay?
Okay.
If you can't get one, get one. Whatever it takes, get a Bible, okay? And it doesn't make any difference which one it is. They're all basically a little different. There is no one perfect Bible.
Yes, sir.
What you want is basically the middle section there of your family records.
Okay.
In between the Old Testament and the New Testament normally is where it's found.
Okay, thank you very much. I will get on that tomorrow morning.
Patrick, I just got on, and I was baptized when I was 19 in, the horse and buggy community, and they didn't keep records, and now I was baptized in July here by someone, and I don't know how to get it affiliated through a church. Or do you have to do it again?
How to get what affiliated to a church?
The baptismal certificate.
Okay. Have you been baptized?
Twice.
You have.
Yes?
Okay. Do you know where your church is at? Can you go back to the church and get a copy of that?
Yeah, they don't keep records in the horse and buggy community where I grew up.
Okay, and you don't have one. Okay. Can you get a rebaptism in the process?
Well, I did that in July, but I didn't do it through a church. I did it through the person that came up to help you, the one you mentioned to me today that come see you. He did it for me with other witnesses, and he's a pastor, but I don't know if he has a church connection other than, whatever he did to become a pastor.
Well, ask him, okay?
Okay.
I can't tell you.
Okay.
But you're going to have to get that baptismal record and then take it down to the diocese.
Okay.
And that would be over in Davenport.
The diocese in Devine.
And get them to accept that as a baptism into the Roman Empire.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay? Tell Jack to give me a call, too. I need to talk to him.
I talked to him this evening. He's leaving. He's studying to be a bus driver. He's leaving for a week. But I'll do that. He can at least call you. Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Patrick. I got everything I need to actually get started on this.
Well, I don't need the thank yous, okay? I need you guys to start doing the stuff, and that's it.
Okay. And reporting back to you.
Well, we're reporting back to the group, okay?
Okay.
The people in the group, they're the ones that need the confirmation. I'm convinced that I'm right, okay? They need the confirmation that I'm right.
Patrick, sir, I have a question when someone else is.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Okay. On the SS4 for the estate, number 6, it says county, state, where principal business is located. Do you put America and then the state where you live, or do you put United States of America, or how does that get worded in number 6? And then I have one more after that.
It says county, right?
Correct.
America's not a county.
So you put your county and then the state, and that's it.
Yeah, like Keokuk County and then the state.
Okay, and then on number 11, it says date business was started or acquired. Would that be your date of birth, or would that just be when you file it?
Whichever you want to throw in there, okay? This is your form. Make it, okay? Think about it. When do I want to start this? I wanted to start it yesterday.
If we put our date of birth, do we have to put nunc pro tunc?
No, you don't need to get too carried away with this. Just put down today's date. You're starting today, okay? You couldn't do anything because you haven't got this EIN, so you've got to start today.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
Right, I'm sorry, I just had to mute it.
Okay. Now, we've been thinking about a lot of this stuff totally wrong. We've listened to all the patriot rhetoric out here, and everybody has totally, most people never really did know how to read the Constitution to begin with, so they had that all messed up, okay? And then nobody realized that they were a conquered nation and that we're really under the Roman Empire out here, but we've been also placed under Roman supervision because of this Jezebel banking system that has taken control. The real Roman law came in to protect us because we fell in with the Jezebels.
When we take our baptismal into the diocese, are they going to give us something in return, like a document?
I don't know. You've got to check it out. You've got to go in there and basically, you're going like in front of Pilate, okay? That bishop is like Pilate. And you've got to go in there and prove that he finds no fault with this man. Okay, that's what Jesus had to do. I am who I say I am. Who do you say I am? I'm here, and basically I'm going to stand by the real laws. I'm not going to be operating under the usury system. I'm adhering to the real laws. Rome is the law keeper at the present time in history. And the subject. Yeah, our government is not keepers of the real law. They've broken just about every law out here. That's why the Pope is coming over here to lay the law down on them.
About time.
And everybody's been against the Jesuits. you might think about it that the Jesuits really are the men in black that we need to have on our side. I'm not saying you have to adhere to any specific religion, am I? I'm not saying anything of that matter. You can be a Baptist, you can be a Presbyterian, you can be a Methodist, you can be whatever. But you have to adhere to certain laws out here. And the very basic laws are you are baptized in blood upon the land, and you then are baptized by water to basically wash away the sins of the debt that are initially put upon you. And then when you adhere to the laws, to the real laws, to the very basic laws, and stay away from usury, insurance policies, and all of that, then basically you will be able to be freed like Daniel was in Babylon. Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, or whatever his name was, basically. And don't tell me what his name is. I don't give a shit.
Okay.
Okay? The three, okay? They stood by the law. That's why they basically were given the free reins that they had. Everybody else stayed as a debtor. They never took the responsibility on for themselves. They wanted everybody else to do everything for them. And that's what I've been trying to get you people to do, is to take on your own responsibility. I tried to show you, just like Jesus did, the way and the path. And the path that I found was to follow exactly what Jesus did. And it's very simple. There was a little more complications in here because basically we thought we were in a free nation, but basically we were in a conquered nation. We lost our freedom out here, just like Franklin and Jefferson warned about. You've got it if you can maintain it. But we let these damn government officials come in, and then we didn't want to run for office, so we allowed them to run for office 4, 5, 25 times in a row. Jesse Helms, or whatever, down there in South Carolina or North Carolina. I mean, they had to wheelchair him out of there. I was senile beyond belief.
Patrick, is the Roman Empire ever considered a nation?
No.
Okay.
It's really just a form of law.
Okay.
It's sitting as the one that is in control of the law. It encompasses, the law is over a whole bunch of different nations. See, that's what Babylon was, okay? Babylon was over a whole bunch of areas. Egypt was over a whole bunch of nations at one point in time.
So in court,
Greece.
in court, then would one say, I'm ambassador for my my country?
You are an ambassador of Christ.
Okay.
of the law, of the real law, and you are a Roman citizen. Okay, as soon as you get down there to that bishop and you place yourself on notice and you ask for forgiveness, you confess, and people, you have a court case.
Yeah.
You need to read that document. I had Tom post up there, or I put on Skype, and I sent out there confession and avoidance. Okay?
All right.
They cannot charge you. Okay? They have to have clean hands. That's under the clean hands doctrine. They have to give you the means of settlement. They can't hide it away from you. You offer settlement. You got the 1099-A. You can do that. You can basically take their instrument and endorse it over to them. Your signature is a letter of credit. Okay? When you signed up with a driver's license, when you signed up with a certificate of title to the vehicle, whatever, you're giving them a letter of credit. Now, they give you a bill. Okay? Now, with your signature, you endorse it on the back, and you release the credits from that letter of credit to them to set off the bill.
Okay, it's making sense, but I have this right here in front of me, and there's like 3 sections that say, 80 on the first page, on the front page. So I don't know yet how to fill one or all 3 out for one bill. I think
you're going to have to come up and see me.
Okay. All right, thank you. Anytime, I'll call you.
Yeah.
Hey, Patrick, can I come over too?
No, if you want to.
Yeah, next weekend maybe.
Is this Tim?
No, this is Chris.
Oh.
I'm in California.
Okay, well, basically, you ought to be able to do most of this. You've been with me long enough.
Yeah. Just want to hang.
May put you work cutting wood then if you want to do that.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Hey, Patrick, could you expand a bit on the Jesuits being the people who could help us? Most people try to portray them as being the source of all evil, even worse than the bankers.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. When somebody is bad-mouthing some group or whatever too damn much, okay, they've got to be the good guys.
They must be up to some good, right?
Yeah, because if too many people out there are bad-mouthing, they want you to stay away from them because basically that's where your remedy or your relief is at. They don't want you to have the relief.
Yeah, like in jail, they said don't put anything on top of the paper. So I found out that's where you put conditionally at, and so they were going to try and protect themselves.
And basically, one of the girls out there came and said, hey, that vicar general or the bishop is basically the chief financial officer of the area now. Which makes all the sense. Now that we understand that we're a conquered nation and that the Roman Empire is over it, okay, the bishop then is the one, and see, St. Patrick was a bishop out of Rome. So he was the bishop of Ireland.
So
he was the chief financial officer of Ireland.
Jesuits could actually be serving as marshal service then.
As the enforcement arm, yes.
Right, okay.
And that's where they came from, okay?
Yes. Interesting.
And they were called the assassins. Why were they called the assassins? Because they could go in and kill off the bankers. Not necessarily did they have to do that, but basically the funds that, the means that they were able to do it with was basically to force them to operate with lawful money, and basically that shut down and killed most bankers. They can't operate.
Good.
Anybody else?
Thank you, Patrick. And I wanted to just say, I'm going to take the preacher that baptized me with me to the archdiocese. I think that's better. Have him go with me.
And he's very interested in the process, too.
Well, he can go on his own. You don't need to have him there. Basically, you need to... Okay. That fish, okay? That fish is ICHTHUS. Okay, that's out there.
Yeah.
That basically people had on their cars, okay, to go along with the cross. Do you know what that means?
It's Greek for Jesus the Savior.
No, it doesn't, okay? ICH means each. Okay?
In German, it's ich, or I.
It's each.
Okay.
That means one, each. Okay? Just a second, I'll tell you exactly what the rest of it says. The THUS, okay? In the first definition that under THUS, you'll see the word frankincense. But if you look in, and you need to go to an Oxford Universal Dictionary or some good dictionary, okay? But ICH means each. And then THUS means accordingly. So, ICHTHUS, the word means each accordingly or individually. You have to be responsible individually. You can't do this as a group. It has to be done individually. Each accordingly. That's what that fish basically stands for. And then basically you've been baptized in water also in the process. So now basically you've completed the process to be a Roman citizen. See, Jesus wasn't baptized until he was the age of 30. He was indoctrinated and baptized by his cousin, John the Baptist. John was in the system as a Roman citizen. Okay? He had broken away from the Jew side. Nowhere do we see that Jesus was ever circumcised. Do we? It's not in the Bible. So, he took 3 years and basically tried to educate other people out there. And then finally he said, I've had enough of this. I'm going to get out of the system. And basically the Jews, the bankers, tried to come after him because he kept turning the tables over on them in the temple, trying to get them to operate with lawful money. So then he went to basically Pilate, who was the Roman proctor over the area, and he said, I find no fault with this man. He's operating per the law. You guys aren't. He sent them back to him and said, straighten out your records. So they had to crucify his records. They didn't crucify the man. They crucified his contracts. But everybody wants to see blood and guts because that's what really sells. And we've got to make a profit on any and everything out here. So we've got to have the blood sales in all the movies and everything else. A good love story just don't sell as much as a good blood and gore story. You can take a look at the box office receipts on that. Okay, any questions?
Patrick, I have a question.
Okay.
Do we have to do the establishing ourselves as a Roman citizen prior to doing a signature as a line of credit to make that work?
Do you have your estate EIN?
No.
Do you have your foreign grantor trust EIN?
No, I haven't gotten any of the EINs yet.
Okay, well then you ain't going to be able to do anything until you get your tax identification number, just like in the movie Jupiter Ascending. You have to have your tax identification number. Okay, you've got to set up your private bank. You need to have a checking account and a savings account. The checking account side is your estate EIN. The savings account is your foreign grantor trust EIN. And then you have to have your individual banker's EIN, who is the fiduciary over both of those two accounts. You as the living cannot be seen. That's the problem out here. In this world, we cannot be seen, even in commerce. Only in the back room can you operate as Tom or Mary or Lucy when you turn the lights out in commerce of sex between two people. Otherwise, you're operating out here in commerce in a completely different capacity, and you've got to have a front person to protect you.
I never knew why they wanted me to open a savings. They told me, oh, you only need $5. And so I finally managed to get my savings and checking opened up here where I'm at.
Yeah, but you need to get have your EINs, and basically then you'll be able to get out and get into the real money system in the process. And then you can get your Treasury Direct card and or Direct Express card from the Treasury Department.
Okay, so if we're attempting to establish ourselves as a Roman citizen, aren't we supposed to not have any savings?
Okay, the EINs that you're getting are your private bank accounts. That doesn't mean that you're putting your savings out there in a usury capacity.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay? It's just sort of like a symbolism or something like that. Okay? I'm using the regular checking and savings account banking system to give you sort of a correlation of what we need to have set up similar, but we don't have to operate it their way. We operate it with real money. Okay? We just don't put our money out there in a usury capacity.
Okay, so the checking account is the estate EIN?
Is the foreign grantor trust EIN, and the regular checking account would be classified as this checking account, the estate EIN.
Okay.
And
the third one is the individual.
And then the third one is the individual banker for your private bank, and he's going to be the CFO of the bank.
Okay.
And see, you as the living person, Mary, Tom, Lucy, whatever, you're out there on the golf course as the CEO. You're not anywhere around the bank. You're letting all your employees do the work for you.
And who are those employees?
Your name, first name, middle name, last name. Now, your account that's down there in Puerto Rico, and basically also the one that's in the Treasury Department, buried away, is last name, first name. Okay, so like in my case, when I go to Puerto Rico, I'm going after Devine, Patrick. But my fictional person, Patrick Devine, as my estate person on the 1099A, he is coming in. He's above ground, okay? And Devine, Patrick, he's below ground. But the living person cannot enter the temple, just like in Moses' time. The people came outside the temple. They put their petition in. They gave it to the priest. The priest took it into the temple. Right? Right. Okay?
Right. Okay. All right, so that's the below and above thing. And do they have to come together in some way?
Yes, the priest will bring them together to set off the books. Okay? You're doing a debt transfer, okay, from your dead person is the lender, okay? He's the debtor, so basically he's lending you debt. And then you, on the instrument, you're basically signing over, and you're making that a negative instrument for the credit release to settle the book. But then the real stuff has to be given over to you because the account there is now zero, but there was something taken out. So where does it have to go? It's got to go to you.
So is there anything else that we need to do besides establish ourselves as a Roman citizen?
Yes, you need to get those EINs.
And EIN, yeah.
Yes, you need to get that first. Then you can come in and basically establish yourself as the Roman citizen, okay?
Okay.
See, I've been talking about this EIN stuff for, when did I get mine? Back in 2010. 2009 is when I applied for my foreign grantor trust one. And basically 2010, first part of 2010, I got it. And then I got my estate EIN in 2010. So I've had mine for almost 5 years now. But the one that we were missing was the one that tied both of them together, and that was I needed to have a financial officer in the process as an individual banker, because I, as the living, could not be the one during the process. I had to have another fiction. You don't need to do UCCs. UCCs are universal commercial codes. Okay? And you want to stay away from the commercial or the Jezebel system.
So obtaining EINs is not part of the Jezebel system?
No, that is part of the taxing system. Everything out here in this system, even in the Roman system, what did it say? Give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. That was a tax. But they didn't know who the Caesar was. Caesar! You're coming in and you're the Caesar. You're seizing your own assets. Give unto Caesar. Got it?
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
See, the bankers have polluted a lot of these words. And the English monarchs and everything else did a hell of a job of trying to continue the pollution of words. And that's why I tried to stress using the dictionary to understand the words. You have to break them way down in a lot of cases.
Okay, I got a copy of my baptismal certificate from the church, and it doesn't have a fish on it.
Oh, it doesn't have to have a fish on it, okay?
Oh, okay.
I was just showing those as examples of how basically the Roman Catholic Church has most all of this in place. But see, even 99%, well, 99.999% of the Roman Catholics have no idea of what the shit's going on.
Okay, so what I actually received was, instead of a copy of the baptismal certificate, they said that they don't have the original, and all they do is just confirm that a baptism took place on such and such date.
Okay, which church was it with?
With the Catholic Church.
It was with the Catholic Church, and you couldn't get, well, basically a replacement. What form is it on? Is it on the 314 form?
No, all of it's just on a straight 8.5 by 11 sheet of white paper. There's nothing special about it. They put in their stuff. They didn't spell out the state of Wisconsin. They just did the initials. And
you got it from the rectory there at the Catholic Church?
Yeah.
Or did you get it from the diocese?
It's just the church itself.
You got it from the church itself, huh? They should have used either the form, they should be using the form right now, the 314 form.
Right.
Okay. No, they didn't do that.
Isn't that the 214?
Well, the 214 was up until recent, and then basically the later ones, they've changed over to the 314 form, okay? I don't know what the difference in the numbering system is there, but that's what, see, I've got copies of both of those.
Huh, okay. I got my copy about 4 years ago. It's a 314.
Yeah.
So is it important that it be a 314, or can just...
No, I was just surprised you didn't get one, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But basically you've got that. So now you can go to the diocese, and you can take your receipts down there to the diocese, to the vicar general. You got proof of your baptism in blood. Now you got proof of baptism by water, and basically now you've got a copy of your certificate of life birth. You've got your Social Security account, and basically you're coming in and you're going to tell them, hey, I want out of the usury system, and basically I want you to settle all these bills. You're the chief financial officer for the district of the Roman Empire district here. Take care of this.
So I can.
You can go right to the Vicar General.
Okay, can the Vicar
Okay.
General be in the state that I'm currently living in, and not the state I was born in? Can the Vicar General be?
No, I want you to go all the way over to Rome. Come on. You go to where you're at.
Okay.
Okay? Bankruptcy. Where do you go? You don't go to the state you were born in. You go to the state that you're living in.
Okay.
And normally you have to be there in that area for at least 160 days or so.
So how does the Vicar General then settle the bills?
Huh?
How does the vicar settle the bills?
I don't know. Ask him.
Okay.
He's the chief financial officer. He knows where the money's at.
Okay.
He's in contact with Puerto Rico, with his treasury down there. He's in contact with Rome, to where the Roman treasury is located. He's been schooled in the damn process. All of these vicar generals and bishops have to go to Rome and get trained over there in Rome for about 2 years or so in basically banking, in the system of banking.
Wow.
Even a lot of the other bishops in the other denominations go over there to Rome and go through the banking system over there in Rome too. You didn't know that.
No. So they should know how to be able to settle the bills, so we don't have.
Hell yes, the bankers.
Okay.
Okay?
Do we have to direct them as bankers, or can they take the bull by the horn?
What do you do at your local bank? Do you direct the chief financial officer in that local bank? You come in and you tell him, I want this done? No, you tell the clerk, here, I'm submitting this, have it processed. But you go in there normally the first time and basically prove to them, show yourself to them, show them your documents, do your affidavit, okay, like I put up there. Submit that in. It's that simple. Okay?
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you.
Do it.
Have you done it?
I'm in the process, okay? I've been out here trying to get this all ironed out and try and help other people and everything. Okay? This has been an ongoing process. I would have been done years ago if basically there would have been a little more help out here, but there wasn't. And when I run the gauntlet with my family and everything else and basically trying to help everybody else in the process, yeah, I've got a hell of a lot more stuff done than most people. I've done more paperwork out here than you could shake a stick at. But in some cases, I drug my feet because I wanted to hang in there until basically I was able to get a few other people up to speed to where I could walk away and basically they could sort of take over and help the next people until they got up to speed and then they could walk away. That was what this was all supposed to be about.
Help your fellow man.
Well, I think that's a great idea, but if you haven't done it yourself, where do you get your information from to make you feel confident that this is going to work?
Because I have studied the damn Bible, okay? I studied the law. I know the Constitution. I know the law system out here in the universe, okay? It's all right here. We've been down. I've been to every damn government office there is. That's what I'm saying. I've been to every court there is. I found out that we were at the wrong damn place.
Well,
Now, you can either believe me or not believe me, okay? That is your choice.
Happen for you. I would like to see it happen for. I would like to see it happen for you, seeing as how.
No, I want to see it happen for you tomorrow too, okay? I don't want you sitting around waiting for me. You haven't got the time to sit around and wait for me. You either believe me or don't believe me.
Well, it all makes sense.
Well, then, do you believe or do you not believe? Not does it, it makes sense, and then you go and sit on your duff for a week, and basically you're another week behind. You still haven't got your EINs. Does that make any sense? No, that don't make any sense at all.
Tom helped us with he did the calls for kind of walking us through getting the EIN, how to fill out the forms and so forth. And I would love to do that again because at the time for me, and I don't know about anyone else, but I didn't know what questions to ask. I didn't know what was even a lot of the stuff that was on the forms. I didn't even know what to ask, and so it's. I've been working with it. I've been looking at it. I've been trying to fill it out, and I think, okay, now what does this mean, and where do I get this information? And it would be good to have a review.
You can ask Tom if he wants to do a repeat, or basically he could tell you what the call was that he probably recorded that session.
Yes, it was recorded.
Okay, so you could tell her what that is, and basically help her from there. Okay, you can contact Tom on Skype or whatever and talk it over with him.
Or just check them out. You check out the calls, play them, and see if it's up to call. So it's about 6 to 8 weeks ago on a Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Are you from Wisconsin?
I am.
You are. So am I. Where are you located?
Oh, I'm not in Wisconsin anymore. I'm in Arizona now. But I was in central Wisconsin.
Okay, I'm in Dodge at the current time.
I'm not familiar with where that is.
Now, there's people down there in Arizona that I think are in the Skype group, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are. Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
All the documents and everything else there, and it's pretty self-explanatory, okay? I put my template up there for the individual banker's EIN, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You can take a look at the summary sheet that I have. If you get to the summary page for the banker's EIN, and it does not look pretty much like what I had up there, then you need to backtrack and start over again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And that's what you have to do, okay? You have to be willing to make a mistake and correct your mistakes. Admit that you're wrong and start over again.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. That's been a problem.
See, that's what most people refuse to do, is to admit that they've ever been wrong and that they've been lied to their whole damn life.
Well,
and that grandpa and grandma were wrong.
Yeah, no, I think it's more of an issue of just how to, because I have looked at your forms and I've seen multiple copies of them that you've done at different times. And you're right. You have worked very, very hard at what you've done. I mean, I couldn't even, you run circles around us. But anyway, so it's a question of which is the correct form, which is the correct information that needs to be provided, and just to make sure that it's being pulled together. That's why I think maybe another session with Tom would be really helpful to answer some of those last questions, because just following something isn't enough for me to feel confident about what I'm actually doing. I'd like to see the bigger picture of how does this all fit together, because just even you're saying tonight that the checking account is, the estate EIN is for checking and the foreign grantor trust or EIN is for savings. I didn't know that. That's an important piece. And
Yeah,
you're
but
saying,
I've talked about that in the past, okay?
well, I know, and I'm fairly new, so I haven't gotten all of that yet.
You've heard me in the past, okay? And see, that's the problem. People followed me, and then basically they got away from me. Now they're starting to come back. They're hitting me up with stuff that I put out there about 3 or 4 years ago. Hell, had one guy call up my mom, tried to track me down in the phone book, couldn't find me. So basically found the only Devine in the area that was in the phone book, called that. That happened to be my mom. She called me up and said, this guy is trying to get in touch with you. And so I called him back, and he said, well, I'd listened to you years ago, and basically I heard something here, and I wanted to contact you and see what, because you had gone into court, and it sounded like you're starting to make strides in the process. Well, basically, yeah, I did a little time in jail, 2 nights in jail, but basically I know how to handle these guys now. That don't mean that I still won't end up in jail, because basically they are a bunch of sickos out here, and you don't argue with them, but you have to know how to stand, and then you can get compensated back from them. But you need to bring in this vicar general. You need to get your Roman citizen status, because we've lost all of our protections, sole protections, as being just an American citizen. Now we have to bring in the second side, our back side, as being a Roman citizen to protect our back.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. I think that's all we can digest for tonight.
Okay.
So, thank you.
I think the call that you're interested in is probably around July 31st. I found that out by looking in the current file and seeing when we put together the examples for the foreign grantor trust and estate EIN right after Patrick's example for the private individual banker.
Okay. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, and the calls prior to that helped a lot, and they go over everything. Because Pat went over every box in his prior calls.
Issues you're talking about being explained, what's the checking account and savings account. Patrick has mentioned that almost every month, and it's on most of his documents. So that means you really have to catch up on the calls and look at the documents.
Okay.
Right, the checking account was the certificate of live birth, and the savings account was the Social Security.
Oh, okay.
In the public.
The certificate of live birth is like a coupon. It's like a check.
You have to listen to the calls to get it, otherwise you're not going to learn it. And that's my thing right there. Because the bills that we receive in the mail are checks, why are we getting them to discharge them when we should be getting paid, like right off the bat? We don't have. Why are we going to the Vicar General when the IRS tells us straight up in Publication 1212 that they are supposed to reimburse us for those coupons? That's my gripe right there.
Okay. You got wait. Okay. You got a service. Okay. They use your assets. They're giving you a bill. Okay. Now you have to give that back to them, endorse it back to them, do a 1099-A. You borrow debt from them. You give it back to them. You release the credits that they're holding, so that they don't have to pay it back to the Treasury. Okay? Everybody is happy. You got
if it doesn't, and I'm not double dipping. They're double dipping. When I'm sending them a coupon, hold on, Patrick. When I send them a coupon and I send them a payment with that coupon, I just paid them twice. That's double dipping.
Yes.
So I'm not double dipping when they're using my credit. Hold on. They're using my credit. Hold on, Patrick. I'm gonna let you talk. I've been listening for like an hour and a half. Hold on. I let them.
You've got to go to the Secretary of the Treasury and then pull the credits that have supposedly been deposited because of that second payment you made and get reimbursed with the receipt because you didn't do it right the first time. You're only going to get paid once, okay? But you've got to go the right place to get the compensation in the process.
I got muted. All I'm trying to do is get the. Don't mute me. No, hold on. I won't talk over him. I'm a gentleman. I know how to have a civil conversation. I've sat here and listened since 5 o'clock. I'm a very civilized person. I know how to listen. All I wanted to do was get the point out so that Patrick could correctly answer me. That's all I'm saying. I just want Patrick. All I want you to do is hear me out. Let me say something, and then that way you can give me a good response. Because we keep talking, you keep saying you want people to ask questions, you want feedback, but when I go to talking, you start talking over me. Thank you. Okay, thank you. So, like I was saying, they're double dipping because when I give them that coupon and I give them some Federal Reserve notes, I'm paying them twice. However, the constitutional law says, as you were saying, yeah, you can endorse it and give it to them, but they're not the only ones who are withholding agents, correct? I'm talking about the company, like an electric company. They're not the only withholding agents, right?
They have utilized their company. They've utilized your letter of credit, your signature, okay?
My social,
letter of
right.
credit. Okay, now, they are sending you a bill because they've been using, and that is rent that is being paid to you, but it is to be compensated by the service that you've been given by the electricity or the water. You have to turn around, give them a 1099-A. You borrowed the debt from them. You're going to then endorse the back of that coupon or that bill and give it back to them. You don't put any Federal Reserve dollars with it. Okay? You release the 1099-A is positive because it's debt. The endorsement on the back of the bill is negative because you're releasing credits to them.
Right.
They're holding your credits.
Patrick, I get all that. Patrick, I get all of that. No, hold on. I'm just trying because when you have a conversation like that, if it was just me and Patrick on the phone, man to man, and nobody else was around, we'd be able to have this conversation without somebody else just jumping in. Patrick, I totally get that. I've studied a lot of material that you put up there. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. But in that case, it would be preaching to the choir because I just want to move to the next step. I totally get that. But what I'm saying is when you send that 1099-A, who has to process that 1099-A? The IRS, right? Why is the IRS telling me to send them the coupon? And then they can then do an electronic funds transfer to me. That's what I'm reading Publication 1212. I'm reading their instructions.
Hold it. Stop.
Yes.
Stop.
Go ahead. Okay.
You send the 1099-A into the IRS.
Mm-hmm.
That is informing the IRS that this utility company does not have to make a payment of credits back to them, to the Treasury.
Hold on. You talking about the 1099-A?
It's right there.
You talking about the 1099-A, right? Let me go beyond the 1099. Let me go beyond the 1099-A. I'm gonna switch over to
go beyond?
Because there's so many different ways of obtaining money out of this system. You don't have to just use the 1099-A. There are people who have successfully used the OID process when they've done it correctly. I know people went to jail because.
Back in jail.
And you know why they went to jail? No, let me tell you why they went to jail. They went to jail because they did not file it correctly. You can go to jail for filing a 1099A incorrectly. If you send a 1099A without the 1096, you're doing it incorrectly. You're supposed to file the 1099 OID with the 8281, and that's where people were going to jail. They were not announcing who was the filer. That's why people were going to jail. They weren't reading Publication 1212. When you read their instructions, they will tell you what to do. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to come up in here as a know-it-all, or else I wouldn't even be in the group. I'm trying to add to the group. There are some things that I have done. I showed a lady in Florida how to buy 2 cars last week. I'm trying to build on to the group. That's all I'm trying to do.
Okay,
but
how did you buy the 2 cars last week?
she used a negotiable instrument. She credited it to her account in Puerto Rico, and she used the 1099A.
The 1099A, right.
But all that did was report to the IRS that this transaction was happening. That's it. But that's not what allowed them to give her the car. She got the car.
Yes, it is.
No, let me tell you why. Let me tell you what they told her. They told her she got the vehicle because of the negotiable instrument, the letter of credit, and the UCC-1 that she filed. That's what they told her.
That they told her. Okay.
All I'm saying is, if this is coming out of their mouth, why should we go against the reason why they gave her 2 vehicles that was paid off in full? I'm not making this up. I'm just being straight up.
Did she get the MSOs? Did she get the MSOs?
She got the title. If we talking about the MSOs? No, let me tell you what she did. She did an injunction against the state. See, the MSO never mattered. She can get a regular plate. She did an injunction against the state, and they can't even pull her over because she let them know that she's under the Bill of Rights, the state's constitution. You know what I'm saying? That was the estoppel that I was talking about. I filed that 6 months ago. I've already put myself on that list. That's what I'm saying. I'm already, like you said, you want people to be like there with you so that you can move on. Well, I'm here. I'm just trying to get away from the madness. And I want to see, like the lady she was talking about, she looking for success. She want to see some success so she can know that she ain't got to go to jail. Ain't nobody got to go to jail for this stuff. If this is our rightful inheritance, what we going to jail for?
Yeah, but one thing, okay? Why would you ever want to give jurisdiction to a vehicle, to private property, over to the state?
They don't have jurisdiction. Let me tell you why they don't have.
Does she have the title, or do they have the title?
She has the title. Let me give you an example. It's just like the title, your birth certificate. That's the title, correct?
If she's got the MSO, okay, not the certificate of title to the vehicle, but she's got the MSO, okay, to where it was never registered with the state. Okay, she's got to have the MSO. Okay, then that is private property. If otherwise, if it's a certificate of title that the state has issued to her, then basically she is under the control of the state, no matter what.
I'm going to have to beg to disagree, and I'm going to tell you why. For example, I have another client who has filed the estoppel, right? She got pulled over by 2 cops, and they told her that her vehicle's tags were out, and that they were going to have to give her they were going to give her a $700 ticket. So they went back to the car after she gave her the information. They came back and told her to go about her way. They didn't give her a ticket at all. So she went down to get those stickers. And what happened was they told her she was going to have to get an admissions test, but they wouldn't be able to give her any stickers. So she gave the lady at the counter her information. She went over to the admissions guy. He said that they stayed over there for a little amount of time. Came back and asked her how many years she wanted. She didn't have to give up any money. Why? Because she did the correct estoppel. That's what I'm saying, Patrick. I'm with you. We have the success. I'm just trying to get on board with you. When I brought up the Treasury of Puerto Rico about a month ago, you said, fuck no. I'm just being straight up man to man. I'm trying to move on to the next level. But you said fuck no to me. But now you talk about the Treasury of Puerto Rico.
That's because I didn't know that America was conquered by the Roman Empire, okay?
Right, but I knew that. You know what I'm saying? I know what time it is. I mean, I may be, a little younger than everybody, and I respect my elders, but I know a little bit about what's going on. I think we can get further if we really, let people come into the situation and bring some laws behind what they're saying, because I really know what's going on.
Yeah,
I just want to see some success myself.
Yeah, you can make this a lot simpler, okay? That's the thing. This can be made a hell of a lot simpler now that we understand what we need to go there. And the 1099A is just a means to basically draw the debt from the coffin into one side. Then we do the endorsement by the 1090 by the receipts that we give back to them, or we do the receipts that we send back to the utility company. Okay, you can take all your receipts. Like I bought this car. Okay, now I got a receipt from the debit card that I had. I bought the car. I can take that receipt and go down and put that into Puerto Rico and get the $25,000 back from my dead man's account.
That's right. You're supposed to get the car and the money.
Yeah, well, basically, I'm getting the car back because, I'm getting the money because the Ford Motor Company had to borrow to make the car to begin with.
Right.
So instead of doing the invoice and endorsing it back to them, and I tried that before, it's best to go the one way, pay it, get the MSO title, never sign it over to the state. Then when you go to another state and see if she has a state's title, when she goes into another state, she may run into problems over there in that other state. But if you've got the MSO, okay, and you go into another state, they can't do anything because the state has never had control of that car. They do not have a claim on it.
Well, what we've done to go around that, just giving you my experience, because I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
What we've done to go around that is we have filed the estoppel with the Attorney General, the Governor, and the Sheriff, right, of the county in which you're in the nearest county. And that has stopped them from pulling people over and even giving them tickets.
That's only in that area.
No, I got you with that. I totally agree with you. And on the estoppel, we did put the 50 states, but of course, if you're not putting these other states on notice, it's not going to work, right? So I've done it at a state level, and I've also done it at the federal level as well, right? So that's why I say it's a work in progress, but we are seeing success. That's why I'm trying to build with you, because I already know that you know what you're doing. I'm just trying to say, hey, we've had some success in this area, so let me talk to you because I know that your knowledge is already there. So maybe you can add on to where I'm already at and make this process even more smoother. You see what I'm saying?
That's where I've got to looking at, and basically the cars, the vehicles, and everything that had that little fish on the back of the cars and a cross, and that you state that you are an ambassador in Christ or an ambassador of Rome. Basically, they have no jurisdiction over you just by that fact alone. And then if you have the MSO, you do not need a UCC, okay?
Right.
You don't need any of these other documents. You still have your main apostille or affidavit and estoppel by deed over your certificate of live birth and your baptismal record and your military if you have that. Basically, that has stopped everything right there because that is mainly where all sources come from.
Right.
So, like in the movie Matrix, you put an estoppel out there, you're like Neo, and you have stopped Mr. Smith dead in his tracks.
Right. And I'm telling you, I'm with you. I watch your paperwork. I'm like, he knows what he's talking about. And that's not the case. All I'm saying is I want to bring a success story to you and build with you from there. But if I come with information and I'm being like pushed back on it, then it's only natural that I'm going to be like, nah, I don't even want to deal with that. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I'm a know-it-all, but if I'm coming with some success,
I'm sorry I didn't pay attention to you there when you told me that before.
All I wanted was to win.
Yeah, it took me a while for it to sink in. And that's like even the other day I was talking about the DD-214, and it just didn't click until basically I cut down. I had 3 trees, and basically I cut down one of them, and 2 of them were still standing there, and I was sitting there smoking a cigarette, looking at that, and I said, 2. basically, I got two. I got my baptismal record, that's a 214 form, and then I got my DD2. Hell, we're in the Roman Empire.
Right.
We
And
basically were
I went and got
conquered.
copies of that. I followed you. I went and got copies of that.
Yeah, we were conquered by the Roman Empire because we became a debtor nation. So they conquered us that way. Okay? Not coming in and marching across us, but basically they did in a way. They sent all their bishops and priests and everything over here. And but that's been in play for several hundred years, because the Jesuits have been out here all the way out to California way before half the damn states in this country ever got on the map.
Right. Yeah, most definitely. People don't know that they're conquered. That's why, you know, people going around here, you know, raising their voices at these cops and they getting their butts kicked because they don't realize they're conquered people. But there is a way around these people. I've dealt with state troopers who have not done anything to me when I spoke up for myself. They've actually came to my aid when they tried to repo my car. They came and told them they had to leave. Why? Because there was paperwork in place, and I was confident in what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? And like those type of experiences, the lady who was speaking just right before me, that gives her confidence in what we doing. I feel where she coming from, because you come into a process and you ain't seeing success. You like, I'm not trying to go to jail. You know, all of us ain't built for that. I want to see, like, you know, hey, has anybody been successful in what we doing? You know? And so I've had some people in front of me that were successful, so that gave me more confidence. But, you know, at the same time, I don't want to depend on them. You know, I want to be my own man, but I do want to work with other people. And I see you got the knowledge. Look, the letter of credit that I'm using, it was based on the letter of credit that you created. I just changed a couple things around, and it worked.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? That's all I'm doing. And we could all be doing the same thing. I don't want nobody thinking I'm a know-it-all, but, I mean, I do know something.
Yeah, you just got to put it in your own words so that you can defend it. And that's what I've been trying to tell everybody. You've got to put it, you can take my documents, but you've got to make them, put it into your wording so that you can defend what you're going after. And then basically you're there.
Yes, indeed.
We got it. And see, basically why? For over 2 years, okay, I had traffic tickets on the books, okay?
Right.
I was sitting right here about 3 miles outside of town. They haven't come after me for those tickets or anything like that. I've done numerous things trying to set them off and everything, but they never came after me. Well, because in a lot of cases, I have filed stuff into the diocese with the vicar general in the process, and basically they know that I'm sitting here with a lot of key information, and they've been told to back off of me.
Right. And as they're supposed to. As they're supposed to. They not supposed, all of these laws that's going on out here are unconstitutional. And we're letting them know that they're unconstitutional. And, you know, as you would very well know, they don't want to do that stuff in the public, but in a private way, they will back up off you. And we've seen this with success. You know, that's why I'm with you. You are in the right direction. You right there. I'm just trying to build with you. You gave me something about the Treasury of Puerto Rico, even after that situation. When you put up that document, that made it easier for me, so I didn't have to call up there and looking for an extension. It was on the document you put up. So you see how that worked for me? But I already knew about the Treasury of Puerto Rico, so it works well. Yeah,
that was Burdell. They basically gave me that information, and she went down there and basically processed one of the instruments to get a car, but the only problem she had was the insurance, and that's why I put that other document up there about that we can do our own insurance as a letter of credit and place that on deposit. Okay?
Right. And I was asking about that too.
And then that stops them. They can't force us And the problem is, they cannot force us into the Jezebel system. They do that, and they are in total violation of the laws of Rome, of Christ, okay? The laws that are cast in iron.
Right on. Now, I'm with you 100%, you know, because the lady, she did do the regular insurance, and I know that, you know, you want to get around everything. I'm just saying we found a way around that, but, you know, she got the regular insurance, and she got 2 brand new cars. She signed the paperwork, nothing old. It's been 3 weeks. There's nothing coming back. It's good to go.
Okay.
I mean, I'm talking credit card bills being paid off, tickets going away, court cases. This stuff is working. And I'm giving you credit that some of it's coming from your work.
Yeah, let me turn you over to the group. You guys go ahead and continue talking. And I got to go put my mom to bed. So I'll be back on in a little bit.
Get your information, young brother. Do you have any information about
What is your name? Can we get your contact information?
Okay, yeah, so I am Malik from Washington. I've been on the calls a few times. You know, I lay low, though.
Washington State?
Yeah, I'm in Washington State.
Okay.
You know, I lay low. I don't be trying to get too much attention, you know, because this is private information. So, you know, you don't want to put your stuff out there, you know. But,
Do you have a Skype name?
I'm sorry?
Can I get a hold of you on Skype?
Yes, on Skype, I am T-O.
T-O?
Identity. It's all one word. T-O identity. So it's 2 identity.
I will find you.
Look at the Skype group so we can talk to you.
INDENITY.
T-I-T-Y.
Identity. Oh, D-I-T-Y. Oh, there's 2 D's in there.
That's some very good information that really resonated, and I'd like to talk to you.
Yeah, because it works. It works, and it's not going to work any different for anyone else. Like, you know, when you're doing it the right way, they can't turn you away. You're doing everything the proper way. It's not like A for B, where people say, you know, oh, it may work and it may not work. No, it's going to work or we going to court. It's as simple as that.
Wow.
Do you know Corey?
I'm sorry?
Do you know Corey?
No, I don't know Corey.
Oh, he's pretty sharp. He's kind of like you. He's on the Skype group. He's got his name there.
Yes, indeed.
Corea or something.
When I type in that Skype name, something called Luca comes up. Is that correct?
No, it's T-O-I-D-E-N-T-I-T-Y. I think that's how I spell. You put it that way? Okay. Take away that first. All right. So try this one. T-O-I-D-E-N-I-T-Y. Try that one.
Spell that again.
So that'll be T-O-I-D-E-N-I-T-Y. Try that. I-T-Y. Yes, I-T-Y. 2 identity. I think I spelled it wrong when I first did it.
Okay.
Could you join the Skype group? So we could talk with you.
Is after T an I-E or an I-D?
So I'll do it one more time. So it'll be T-O-I-D-E-N-I-T-Y.
Okay.
Identity without a T?
Yeah, without a T. Without the other T.
Yeah.
I'll fix it eventually.
Could you join the Skype group so we can talk with you?
Yes, indeed. I will do that. I'm on my way home right now. It's actually private, but I'm on my way home now. I'll jump on.
The way you do
I'm sending you a Skype contact request.